Okay, let's get started. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today in a session on what's new and exciting at MyHeritage. I'm Gilad Japhet, founder and CEO of MyHeritage, and I'm very excited and happy to be here among friends and surrounded by hundreds of passionate genealogists. They have me put this up as a reminder. And I want to start off with some fun. You know, getting here was not easy for me. I had to endure so many hardships to meet you all that I asked the MyHeritage team to take a video to show everything that I've been through to get here. Here's the result. And here I am. They're amazing, the MyHeritage team with AI. So today, since my time is limited, I will have to cover what's new and exciting at MyHeritage only in the last 3 months. But there's going to be a whole lot. Since we are in the fun department, I'll start with LiveMemory. This is a great, fun new feature that we released in the last couple of months. It can convert any still photo into a live video. And it uses artificial intelligence, or AI. And that achieves one of our main goals, which is to make genealogy fun and engaging, because we want as many people as possible to be doing it. And if that gives some people a good reason to scan those old family photos and upload them to MyHeritage, where they will be saved forever, that's fantastic. It's available on the MyHeritage mobile app for iOS and Android, and it has 2 modes of operation. You can upload a photo and it will reenact the scene and try to reimagine what took place when the photo was taken, which is great fun if you upload a photo of your ancestors taken 100 years ago. And you can also tell it what you want to happen in the scene. Hundreds of thousands of videos have been created. People have been having a lot of fun with it. And I want to show you some examples. So this is an old photo of my sister. I'm not sure she knew how to play the piano that my parents had. This was taken about 60 years ago. But the AI thinks she was Mozart. And this is a nice family picnic that is being reenacted. And these kids are running off to school. So this is so fun. This is reenacting the scene. And now watch what happens when you tell it what you want it to do. So this is my grandfather and his brother, and I want them to be doing some singing. How about some dancing? And a bit of kissing as well. Some rainy day. And I want to share with you some of my personal favorite live memories. There's an unpredictable nature to AI. And so I asked it to have the couple on the left dancing. And the AI thought that the man doesn't love to dance. So here's what happened. And the next one with my parents, I asked AI to do something funny. Here is my dear nephew and his fiancée, and they're about to be married, and I asked AI to curb their enthusiasm. And last but not least, Sagi, who is here with me, he's one of our employees, he uploaded a photo of his dear grandparents and he asked them to kiss, but the AI had other plans. The AI must have thought that the grandma is a bit naughty, perhaps unfaithful. Watch what happened. So LiveMemory is a lot of fun. If you haven't tried it, go ahead and try it today. It's amazing. But now we're off to more serious matters and into the historical records department. You notice that I'm using departments. This is a tribute to Mad magazine that I loved so much. So in the historical records department, boy, have we been busy in the last year. We've reached the amazing milestone of 34 billion records on MyHeritage. And here at RootsTech last year, we launched a new website for historical newspapers called oldnews.com. And that's just 1 year old. And it's already celebrating 329 million newspaper pages from 24 countries. So here are some of the highlights in 2024 in terms of what we did with historical records. We added 13 billion records, so that grew our count by more than 50%, nearly 70% in fact. And the 12 billion records that we extracted from newspapers is a highlight, and I will get into a bit of detail on that. We also added more than 500 million of other records from many, many collections around the world, and hundreds of millions of newspaper pages. And some of those collections have been unique and exclusive. We have the New York City Vital Records, the best collection that exists today, with the original images. We have amazing French records that our friends at Filet are busy digitizing, and Irish records, and recently an exclusive Israeli collections with marriages and divorces that's indispensable for research in Israel. And the best is yet to come. This year will be even better. Now, extracting the records from newspapers has been an amazing project for us because newspapers have very rich material. They have all the stories and sometimes photos and the details. They are much more detailed than a birth record or a marriage record. And a newspaper story will tell you exactly what the bride and groom wore and what they did after for the honeymoon and all the details about their parents. But until now, it has been quite difficult to search newspapers because they are in free text and it's hard to use synonyms. And sometimes information is not even mentioned in the newspaper. For example, a newspaper might say, last Saturday, so-and-so died. There's no date. And so, what is last Saturday? To figure it out, you need to know when the newspaper was published and do all sorts of calculations. And sometimes, they're not going to tell you who is married to who, but you need to understand it from the context. So, there's a lot of richness that's buried in the newspaper pages, and we have used and developed amazing artificial intelligence to extract all that value. First, we run our own optical character recognition, OCR, which I think is in the highest quality available for OCR, and then additional processes. And the crown jewel is extracting meaning and structured records from each newspaper article, and understanding who are the protagonists and what are their names and what are the dates and places and relationships between them. We have done that with all the English newspapers and added more than 12 billion records, and I can give you now a scoop that within a month or so, we will be adding more than 3 billion records from French newspapers in very, very, very high quality, and this will become the most valuable corpus of French genealogy records available. Thank you. And of course, German newspapers and Dutch and Finnish and the others are coming right up. So this is an example where you have a newspaper article And we are able from that article to extract structured information and put it in the index so that you can search by it with the name of the individual, and we even give you a summary of the article for each and every article so that you can figure out, is it something that you want to go into? Is this about the academic graduation of this person, as in this case? That's great. Or is it just a garage sale that he's running, which is less interesting? So we're giving you a summary, and we are extracting all the information, and even the name of the father in this case, and all the details about the education of this person. Now, I have to emphasize that others are using AI for similar purposes, but AIs were not born equal. And we have invested a lot of effort to make our technology the best in the world. So I'm going to shamelessly have a comparison with Ancestry.com on 2 different newspaper pages that I chose randomly that are coming from Trove, which is a public domain database for Australian newspapers. So in this case, there are 2 obituaries coming from Trove that MyHeritage has and Ancestry.com. So here there is an obituary for Sarah Ann Butler, and the record from Ancestry is on the left, and the record from MyHeritage is on the right. You can see it is far more detailed. But let's dive into the details. So where did this person live? Ancestry says it's Pic-Ton, and MyHeritage says it's Picton in New South Wales in Australia. That's far more useful. And the hyphen in the Picton, you know how it is with the wraparound in the newspapers, so you need to be smart enough to piece it back together. Then the death date. In an obituary, the date of death is perhaps one of the most important pieces of information other than the name of the person. Ancestry says about 1950, and MyHeritage gives the precise date in June of 1950, because this is exactly one of these cases where the obituary says last Saturday or 2 weeks ago on Monday, and the AI on MyHeritage figures out exactly the date. And that's going to match automatically to your family tree. Thank you. Bring it up. Now, here, this is a bit challenging because the text that I put on the left of the newspaper mentions the deceased is survived by his daughter, Beverly, 7 years old, and it mentions 6 brothers and 2 sisters. Now, this is tricky because it mentions the first names of the brothers, like there is Albert from Bankstown. It says Albert, and then Bankstown is in parentheses. So you need to be smart to understand that this is where he lives. But for the sisters, it says Hilda, then Mrs. Young, and Mary, Mrs. Herring. So these are the married surnames. These are not the places. MyHeritage figures out all this. So it will give a brother, William, with the last name and with the place of residence. And for the ladies, it will say Mary Herring and Hilda Young, which is exactly their names. So MyHeritage figured out what is in the parentheses, and there are 8 siblings, and Ancestry picked up only 3 of them, but it made an error because 2 of them, William and Arthur, it conflated, and it made them into one person called William Arthur, which is wrong. So if you were searching, for example, for the Hilda Young or Mary Herring, you would find them on MyHeritage, and you would not find them on Ancestry. And the level of detail and richness is unsurpassed. And MyHeritage also adds the cause of death and the date of the burial and the date of the funeral itself, which is usually the date of the burial. And here's another example. These are obituaries of Harold Ruddiman. And again, MyHeritage captures the date of death and even gives you the name of the hospital where he died. And the spouse, well, you can see on the left that it says that he married May Matthews, and there's a hyphen inside the Matthews. So Ancestry picked it up as May Matt, which is wrong, and MyHeritage says that this is Mary Ruddiman born Matthews, which is the genealogically correct way to write a name, and you have the correct maiden name as well. And we even tell you that it's a wife, it's not a spouse, because we can imply the gender correctly. And again, in this case, there are sons. The newspaper says 2 young sons, John and Alex. And MyHeritage has both. Ancestry has only 1. And again, brothers and sisters. And again, Ancestry conflated the first 2 and made them one person. And MyHeritage has all of them listed. So I apologize for this merciless comparison, but I just wanted to show off a bit. I'm really proud of the MyHeritage AI team doing a fabulous job in getting so much rich historical content available to you to advance your research. Now, one of the most important aspects of historical records is simply to get them and publish them in the highest quality possible. And one of the game changers in this area has been automatic handwriting recognition with the use of AI. This can replace the armies of thousands of manual labor in places like Bangladesh and Madagascar that are typically typing away and indexing all these records. So now AI can do it very, very efficiently and very quickly and inexpensively. We have had amazing breakthroughs in the quality of the handwriting recognition that we're able to do with AI. And here are just some examples. This is the World War II draft cards that we're about to release very soon, processed entirely with AI. You can see on the left the image, on the right the ground truth. Ground truth is what you get when you give expert humans to type it up. And this way you test the AI to see if it's doing a good job. And if it's colored in green, it means the AI is doing a great job. And sometimes the AI is doing even a better job than humans. This also works in almost any language we throw at it. These are new German records that we're about to publish. These are death records from Prussia, almost perfectly handled, and marriage records also. And they are quite difficult to read. Birth records from Canada, perfectly handled. And so when I say the best is yet to come, you can expect an avalanche of high-quality records coming to MyHeritage very soon. Moving on to the storytelling department. We have released an exciting new product that is called MyStories. And MyStories helps you preserve and capture your cherished memories and make them into a beautiful published book that your family is going to celebrate forever. Now, why is this so important? For 21, and that's almost 22 years since the inception of MyHeritage, we've been helping millions of people preserve and document their family history for future generations. And a lot of them have been doing a great job writing, creating family trees and uploading photos and entering all the information. But a lot of the richness of our family history has not been captured and documented. These are the detailed stories and the anecdotes. And often these go unrecorded. And every day, unfortunately, they are forgotten and lost, or they are fading away when it's harder for you to remember them. So we created MyStories in order to encourage people to capture, to write those stories, to write the memoirs, and to publish them in books, with the hope that the digital information will also be found on MyHeritage as well. But having a printed book is so important. Now, anybody can write a book, but people rarely do it, because they often consider it as an overwhelming, challenging task. They don't even know how to begin. They think it's going to take them a lot of time, and because of that, they simply don't start. So with MyStories, we have broken this up into very, very easy steps. Typically, just 1 week at a time, you get a question that is thought-provoking and interesting by email, and you simply reply to it by email, and you can just attach photos, and you've written a chapter. It inspires you to reminisce, and it gets your juices flowing and your memory going, and then your book just writes itself. So 1 question a week and email. Anybody can do it. It's very, very easy. Everything is organized in a dashboard, and you can dive into the dashboard at any moment and reorganize your answers, your stories. You can edit them, and if you're impatient, you can actually start answering the next questions. So everything is in your control, and there are 416 questions right now that are really, really interesting that you can pick from so that you can customize the book to your preferences. And the questions are fascinating, and they cover every aspect of life, and you can also create your own. For example, one question is, how far back in time have you been able to uncover your family history? And who in your family makes you laugh the most? And what is your cherished memory, with your most cherished memory with your mother, and so on. So all the interesting topics are covered. And you can take the book in any direction you want. It can be about your childhood, or about your military career, or about your academic career. And the book itself comes printed in very, very high quality with a thick hardcover. It's practically unlimited in size, and you can also get as many copies as you like. And if you want, at any moment, you can download the book as a PDF file and share it as a PDF if you wish. The photos are printed inside the book, and it looks beautiful. Whenever you're ready, you can print it, design the cover, give it the title that you want, and we will print it for you and send it to you. It is not a recurring subscription, it's just a one-time membership. It costs normally $99. That includes the entire system for book creation and all the weekly prompts, and one beautiful book, and free shipping anywhere in the world of that book. And we're giving a discount of $10 here at RootsTech with this coupon, and you can get that at the MyStories booth, which is right next to the MyHeritage booth. Now, MyStories is a great gift for yourself, but even more, it makes a fantastic gift for a loved one. Unfortunately, I lost my mother last year, and I wish very much that I had done it with her while I had a chance, and I would have loved for her to document a lot of her stories. So when you give MyStories as a gift, you are actually benefiting a lot, and not just them, and you get these priceless, precious stories recorded forever in your family. So I encourage you to think about people that time is running up and time is running out, and you want to give them this beautiful gift, and your loved ones, or surprise yourself and get it for yourself. So that's it about MyStories, and we have a lot of plans for this product. It's going to support many languages. We are thinking of adding audio recording for people who have some difficulty in writing, and many more features are coming up. I hope you all will enjoy it. Now we're on to the Genealogy Innovation Department. I'm very pleased today to announce and release for the first time the Cousin Finder. And Cousin Finder, believe it or not, is a DNA test without DNA. Or, well, it's a bit of a pretentious name, but it's a new product feature that's very exciting, that gives you the benefits of a DNA test without you having to test your DNA, and it's a complement. It doesn't replace DNA testing, it is on top. So let me explain what this is all about. Cousin Finder is unique to MyHeritage. Nobody else has anything like it, and it's released today here at RootsTech. It uses the power of family trees and family tree matches that we call on MyHeritage SmartMatches to give you an output that resembles DNA testing very much. It gives you your cousins, your blood relatives, but not just your blood relatives, but people that you can get in touch with, that they're contactable, and people who are interested. They're interested in family history, and they are likely going to respond to you. And since they are your blood relatives, you share common ancestors with them, and you can collaborate with them on your shared ancestry. So you're doing this when you're taking a DNA test, because you're getting the DNA matches, which are your blood relatives, and you can contact them. But some of you, God forbid, may not have taken a DNA test yet, but even if all of you did, a lot of your cousins have not. And therefore, you are not going to detect them with a DNA test. So how does it work? It requires you to have a rather good family tree. That's all you need. And the more detailed it is, and the more information you put in, like dates and places and facts and life events, the more matches you're going to get, and the more cousin connections you're going to make with this feature. It will automatically analyze all your matches, which could be hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands. And then for each of the matches, it's going to analyze the matching family tree and look at thousands and thousands of individuals. And it's going to search for anybody who is a descendant of an ancestor. So it takes your ancestors, it looks for them in other family trees, it then maps their descendants, and it checks which one is actually a MyHeritage user, typically an owner of another family tree. That person you can contact with a MyHeritage inbox, and they are likely going to be very interested, because they're not on MyHeritage by accident, they're interested in the family history. And so using the cousin finder, you are bound to find many cousins that you've never seen before, never heard of before, or people you know, but you'll be delighted to find out that they're on MyHeritage and that they love family history and that you can contact them. And all of that without them or you having to take a DNA test. But if you love DNA like me, this is a great preparation for you, because you can filter the list of cousins according to the branch that you care about, and then it will show you all your blood relatives from that branch, and you can easily, I know, convince them to take a DNA test. Or you can buy a DNA test for them and ask them to take it. And then you get valuable DNA segments from that branch, which allow you to triangulate other distant DNA matches and figure out exactly how you're related to them. This is greatly advancing your research. So this is not instead of a DNA test. Consider it as a great gift to complement the DNA test. And you could have done it without this feature, but you would have had to spend thousands of hours going over your smart matches and then going over the matching trees. We instead have crystallized the value for you, reviewed all of that for you, and we are giving you all your cousins. So how do you access the cousin finder? It will now be found in the Discoveries tab on MyHeritage, because it is a tool that, or a feature that gives you discoveries. The discoveries are those new cousins. So you visit it, and the first time you visit, it's going to take a few seconds to calculate and locate all your cousins, and then it's going to list them using convenient cards. And then all your cousins are at your fingertips. So let's zoom in. Here it found one of the cousins, Isaac Taylor. He's also a DNA match, so it's going to use a label to tell you which of these people also match you in the DNA. But many won't, because many have not taken a DNA test. And then it gives you valuable information so that you can assess whether it's worthwhile for you to get in touch with this person. So things that we care about is how old are they, and when did they join MyHeritage, and when did they last visit MyHeritage, and how big is their tree, and how many photos they uploaded. So if this is a very serious researcher, thousands of people in their tree, they visited MyHeritage 2 hours ago, and they're going to be very excited to hear from you, and they're going to help you. Whereas if they visited MyHeritage 8 years ago and the family tree has 2 individuals, you know, you might be just wasting your time perhaps. So you get all that valuable information, and on the right-hand side, it focuses on the relationship between you and the cousin. So in this case, this person is my mother's second cousin, and it uses color coding. The same color coding we support on MyHeritage family trees, which is very convenient once you get used to it. And then it tells you who your common ancestors are, typically 1 or 2. It's 1 if it's a half cousin. And then how are you related to these common ancestors, and how is the other person related to them? And we generate a new relationship diagram if you want, which is clever because it's constructed from your family tree and the other family tree. And very soon we're going to show you which people are missing in your tree that are only found in the other tree. So this is a great way, if you go over your list of cousins on Cousin Finder, to simply find useful additions to your family tree. And these are all close relatives, although it did find a 9th cousin for me. You can filter the output of Cousin Finder by the branch that you care about, and you can even ask it to show spouses. Now, why would you want to have a spouse? Because maybe your blood relative is deceased, but the spouse is going to help you. So sometimes it's the next best thing. So you can optionally list that, and you can also sort the list by proximity, by the closeness to you, or alphabetically, whatever you prefer. So to summarize, this is basically a free feature. You only need a subscription, which I'm sure all of you already have, to get in touch with the cousins. And it saves a lot of time in case what you really want is to collaborate with others. Because when you have DNA matches, it's great fun to get in touch with them and to learn more about your ancestors. And all these people are just waiting for you to contact them. Unique to MyHeritage and released today for the first time. Please try it out. You'll be amazed by how many cousins you're going to discover. Okay, now we're on to the recent DNA ethnicity department. And you'll soon see why I use the term recent. So just a couple of weeks ago, we finally released Ethnicity Estimate version 2.5 that has 79 regions. And here's another nifty video about it. Thank you. Now, unfortunately, it wasn't a smooth release. And it took us longer than we had hoped. First, we released version 2. And that was back in June 2024. And when we have new products, we usually release them slowly. And we engage with the first users, the beta and the MyHeritage Friends, which is a group that you're welcome to inquire about joining. They get early access to all the new features. And we asked them how happy they are with their ethnicity results. And unfortunately, they were not happy enough with their results. And we ran a survey, and we were disappointed that they didn't like the results so much. They were complaining that the percentages were inaccurate and the diversity of their ethnicity was impacted. So what we did, instead of going ahead with our plan and releasing it, is we went back to the drawing board and we spent another 6 months perfecting and improving the ethnicity algorithms until we released this version 2.5, again, to several thousand users and even new ones that didn't see the previous version. And then we surveyed them. Do they like the results? Do the results fit what they expect from their genealogical research? And this time, the users were very happy with the results. They told us that they are better than version 2 and much better than the previous version, the original version. That is so bad, I must say, that we called it version 0.95 and we never dare call it version 1. So I want to be honest with you and admit that sometimes things are not perfect, but we are struggling to make our products as good as they can be and should be. And that's why it has taken us longer. And I'm very happy that this version 2.5 is now much, much better and more detailed, as you have seen. And already we have great ideas on version 3 and version 4, which will be coming up. So we will never stop trying to improve ethnicity. It's never perfect, but it's only getting better. This is just a list of the 79 ethnicities, and there are many here that are unique and are not found anywhere else. And for example, this version will identify 15 different ethnicities of Jewish people, more than any other DNA test by far. And version 2.5 is opt-in, which means we don't force it on you. We announce its availability when you visit your ethnicity, and if you want, you take it as a free update, but you can always go back to the previous results. So don't rush to remove your Viking tattoo if we told you that your Scandinavian ethnicity is gone. You can either remove it surgically or you can go back to your previous results. Now, we know that it has been worth the wait. We have hundreds and, in fact, thousands of testimonials from users who have been telling us how happy they are with their ethnicity results. And we are very pleased by this, and we are now working already on the next versions. So to summarize, Ethnicity Estimate 2.5, which was too long in the making, is more accurate, has a high resolution with 79 ethnicities. This comes on top of the 2,114 genetic groups that give you more fine-tuned precision, but they do not come with percentages. And we have composed lovely original tunes for each ethnicity that you can have a lot of fun with. This is a free update to all MyHeritage users, and even if you uploaded your DNA from another company. And we will keep improving it. Thank you. Now I'm sailing on to the ancient DNA ethnicity department, and I'm very excited to describe to you an amazing new product that we released called Ancient Origins. And it's going to trace your origins back 10,000 years, up to 10,000 years, in terms of ethnicity and geographical origins of your ancestors. And this is very exciting because it starts where the ethnicity estimates ends. The regular ethnicity estimate is pretty modern. It goes back a couple of hundred years because it's based on your autosomal DNA that you inherited from your parents and grandparents, but after a lot of generations, you get very little from your ancestors. And with Ancient Origins, we are now using and harnessing the fascinating science of archaeogenetics, in which archaeological excavations all around the world, you know that they typically uncover skeletons and human remains, but today there are very powerful technologies, forensic technologies, to extract DNA from these bones with very, very high precision, because DNA is the most ingenious and clever and durable storage that exists in the world. So you can today take a bone that was excavated in a Canaanite site in where is Israel today, 4,000 years ago. And because you have evidence from the excavation that this is a Canaanite site, you can typically identify the identity of the people buried there. Now, it could be their enemies that they just crushed. But using other methods, you can typically accurately identify who this is. Now, fortunately, there is a wonderful scientific community of archaeogenetics, and people are kind of rewriting history because they're now researching and mapping together the human family tree going back 10,000 years, and especially the evolution of ancient civilizations and how they're related to each other. And all that did not exist 10 years ago. All these excavations are new, the samples are new, and it is now possible to compare ancient DNA to modern DNA of all of you and tell you which ancient civilizations you descend from. And this is what the product is doing. So it's available on MyHeritage, whether you have tested with MyHeritage DNA or whether you have uploaded your DNA from 23andMe or Ancestry or Family Tree DNA. You do not need to test your DNA again. It's based on a partnership that we have done with a company called Illustrative DNA, and it currently captures 2,477 ancient DNA samples and more than 400 ancient populations all around the world. So you might be in Australia, or in China, or in Africa, and we've got you covered. It requires a MyHeritage Complete or Omni subscription in order to access the results, and the results are updated with new samples and new populations as this science advances. So I asked the MyHeritage team to show a cool video of what it looks like. Ancient origins. Here we go.
Take your MyHeritage DNA results further than ever. Introducing Ancient Origins. Trace your origins back 10,000 years. Uncover the ancient civilizations you descend from. Gain insight into the lives of your ancient ancestors. And explore how your heritage evolved over thousands of years. Discover your ancient origins today.
Thank you. So I wanted to show you a little bit what it looks like when you use the product. There are 5 major areas to explore, and one of them is your ancient origins breakdown, which works just like the modern ethnicity with percentages. So it shows you the ancient populations that you more closely resemble, but there is a slider so you can pick whether to focus on the Bronze Age, the Iron Age, what is the Roman era, and the Middle Ages. And in each one, it's going to compare your DNA to the ancient populations that existed at that time. And this is very, very exciting because you can see the evolution. If you're Danish, then as you go back in time, your ancient populations are going further south, and they are Germanic tribes, and then they're going up, and they might become Vikings over time. So in this case, one of my colleagues in Israel, Gal, who is a Sephardic Jewish, and she was very excited to find that her ancient origins go back to the Holy Land, to where is Israel today, with 42% of Canaanite and some influences around in the Middle East, which is quite amazing. And people get very emotional when they sometimes get ancient origins thousands of years back, exactly where they live today. It's quite amazing. You can drill down into any of these ancient populations, in this case the Canaanite, and there will be subpopulations depending on whether it's the north or the center or the south, and you can see your percentage resemblance to each one of the subpopulations. And there is a very nice description of each ethnicity and reference to all the samples if you want to do further reading about those excavations and the scientific papers that were published. And MyHeritage has its secret sauce, the AI. So we've created a lovely speaking character for each ethnicity that speaks, hopefully in the right accent, and describes to you everything about the ethnicity. Let's look at an example.
Let me share with you the wonders of our empire. From Britannia to Egyptus, Hispania to Syria, our reach is vast, with unparalleled influence. Here in Rome, the Forum buzzes with political debates, while the Colosseum roars with gladiatorial games. We pride ourselves on our baths, where we socialize and conduct business. Our days begin with work or civic duties, followed by afternoons at the baths or chariot races in the Circus Maximus. Our homes, whether domus or insulae, reflect our status. We worship gods like Jupiter, Mars, and Venus, and welcome deities from conquered lands. The military secures our borders, aqueducts bring fresh water, and roads connect provinces, facilitating trade of spices and amber. Greek culture influences our art and philosophy, yet we've made it our own. Despite distant unrest, the Pax Romana grants us peace and prosperity. Our laws unify this vast land, and culture flourishes in poetry and arts. Truly, to be Roman is to be part of the greatest civilization the world has known.
He's very proud. And I won't play her to the end, but just listen to the lovely accent.
So you wish to know the ways of the Celt. Life among the tribes is simple, yet full of meaning. We live close to the earth,
Carthage.
in roundhouse.
He welcomes you to mighty Carthage. So it's fascinating and educational. It opens a window to a beautiful world of history and populations and civilizations. And if you're a DNA geek like me, you will appreciate the PCA, the principal component analysis elements, which show how you are, which populations are closest to you, and how close they are to each other. So here, this is Gal in the bottom right corner, and she is today Sephardic Jewish, and it shows her that the Ashkenazi Jews and the Sephardic Jews are very close genetically, and the Ashkenazi Jews, among all the people in Europe, are the closest to Italians and Greeks, which is amazing, it's fascinating, and it has, of course, historical roots. And you can see that, for example, the Finnish people are not close at all to the Swedish and Norwegian, and they're not Scandinavia, they are Nordic people. And the Finnish people on the bottom left are actually closer to Russians. Now, the reason for this vectoric chart, that it resembles very much the geography, is because people intermarried with their neighbors a lot. So genetically, French and German people are very, very close. And if you go to Alsace, they will be pretty much half German and half French. So it's fascinating to see, for example, that the Sardinians are off in the corner. They're isolated. So they speak Italian today, but genetically, they are distant from the Italians because they were living cut off for tens of thousands of years, perhaps, on the island, the beautiful island of Sardinia. So this is very interesting, and this is just a focus on Europe, and you can take a focus on any others, and you can see where you are in relation to all the ancient and modern populations. This is fascinating, and I am planning to bring this view also for the modern ethnicities and not just the ancient ones. And this is part of the beautiful features that you get in the Ancient Origins product. You're going to have a lot of fun with it. Thank you. So to summarize, we have had a lot of departments today. We've covered exciting new releases from MyHeritage, all coming from the past 3 months only. We've had LiveMemory that brings photos back to life, and you can command the AI to do something funny with the photo if you wish, or emotional. We talked about the billions of records that MyHeritage extracted automatically from newspapers in very, very high quality. We have the MyStories product, so you can capture your memories or buy it for a loved one as a gift and preserve the family stories forever. We have the innovative feature of Cousin Finder that lists all the contactable relatives that share common ancestors with you, so you can exchange information, collaborate, or buy them a DNA test if you wish. There is the new Ethnicity Estimate 2.5 and the Ancient Origins to find which ancient civilizations you descend from, and all of this in the last 3 months. What are they going to come up with next? Here at MyHeritage, we are committed to developing powerful and useful features for genealogy and DNA testing for you, and we promise you to never stop and to keep being on the cutting edge to give you the most value possible. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to take any questions.